Hi Jackie, it's Helen. I am just doing a quick video on the information from your scan that you did earlier today. So hope you find this of interest, though I don't want you to think, oh my goodness, there's lots of priorities showing on here. Am I really sick? It's not about measuring your health on a sort of on a sort of a biochemical level. What we're looking at is how the information and energy flows in the body. So if you sort of put this into context and think of a say your computer or your mobile phone, whatever. When you first get it, it's lovely and shiny and new, and it works really, really well. And over a period of time, we basically just exhaust it. We keep putting more data on it, downloading apps, and over time, what we're doing, we're putting so much pressure on the operating system that eventually it will basically just burn itself out. Now, in order to keep that that moving and working effectively, we do have to occasionally sort of clean it up, make sure that we're sort of rebooting it on a regular basis. Now, the human body is practically the same as that. So we have our physical body that we can see. Then we have our what we call our energetic body, which is the information and the energy that controls the physical. So when we're looking at a bioenergetic scan, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the energy within the body. And I reckon you'll probably learn a little bit more about this when you do your NLP and hypnotherapy course, because that's kind of like it's looking at that sort of those deeper patterns within the body. So you mentioned today about your feet. I thought it might have a connection with your circulation, and this is, so I'm going to quickly go through your scan. This is now available for you to view. So if you want to go in into your scan, you just go into portal.nesthealth.com, put in your email address and then your password, and that will enable you to access the information. So what you're seeing on this first screen is what we call an energy source screen. And you can see we've got some nice bright purple dots and some orange dots. Now, what we're looking at on any of the screens is primarily the purple. That's what we look at when we say it's a priority in the body. Then we'll also take into account some of the oranges as well. So straight away on here, we can see that there's a priority around your diet. Now, diet is such an interesting one because there isn't an ideal diet that fits everybody, okay? And we all know, we've had a friend who's been on a diet and they've lost loads of weight, they look amazing, la, 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 and we try to do the same thing and we go get the same results, okay? It's because perhaps our body generally it needs perhaps a different ratio of protein, carbohydrate and fat to what somebody else is doing. It's like people who do juicing. Not everybody can do juicing. Sometimes some people it doesn't work for them. Okay, so there's some errors in your diet, and that would be something that you wanted to address that we can look at then in a little bit more detail with you. Then we have movement. So generally movement comes up because it's lack of movement in our body. So in order to basically power up our body's energy field, we need movement. We get energy from our environment, from the sun, or from daylight in this country, obviously, from food that we eat, from water that we drink, from exercise that we do, and that involves movement as well. So this isn't about running around the block every 5 minutes, but this is about doing something during the day that's sometimes taking a little bit out of breath and just making putting a little bit of stress on your body. Okay, a little bit of stress on the body is actually a positive thing. As we move further down the page, we've got what we call big fields. Now, when all of these, whenever you click on any of these, it'll come up and you'll see there are what we call help files, and you can find out a little bit more about what movement actually means. Okay, so big fields. The Earth has a natural energy field, and our body has to be, or needs to be, if it's in alignment with the Earth's energy field, then it's more in balance, okay? So the area that's coming up with you is what we call the equatorial axis. Now, the equatorial axis is linked to metabolism, okay? So it's looking at the whole of the digestive system, how we are able to metabolize and digest the nutrients that we actually are actually having in our daily diet. So that's showing there is an element of that which is not in alignment for you. Now, the big one on here is what we call polarity. Okay, so polarity is the highest priority. This is where we look at polarity, we look at the body as having, preferring a more negative charge rather than a positive charge. So generally the body goes into more of a positive charge because of elements of stress. Okay, now this could be day-to-day stresses in our environment, okay, in our relationships. It may be because we are spending too much time in electromagnetic fields, so Wi-Fi, mobile phones, computers, blue light, all the things like that. Not actually engaging enough with getting the body outside and becoming more negatively charged. It's when your body's holding onto a positive charge, which isn't conducive with good health. Okay, so that's the what we call our energy source screen. We then look at the energy strength screen. You can see we've got 3 priorities coming up on here. Now, I haven't instrumented the results on your scan in any way, shape, or form. Okay, but interestingly, circulation is coming up as a priority for you. Okay, as is the heart driver. So this is not saying there's anything wrong with your circulation system or your heart or your kidneys. This is the energy around those organs and organ systems. So generally, when we're looking at the circulation driver, we're looking at the quality and the flow of blood. Okay, so how well blood is bringing oxygen, nutrients, and information into the cells. Okay, it's also looking at how effective our body is at eliminating waste materials that will then go into the lungs, kidneys, and liver for detoxing. So there is an element of circulation, and that would also have an effect on how you're looking at your movement as well. Okay, we've then got the heart field coming up. Okay, so again, this is not saying what's wrong with your heart, but if you think about the heart, it's linked very much to the circulation system. This has also links to communication. Okay, so sometimes it may show up because we're not having the positive messages going around the body. Okay, so this one definitely matches to your emotional center and to positive messages. It also has a link, and you'll see this from the help bar, to the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. So that's sort of fight or flight mode. So I feel like there's quite a bit of stress in your body at the moment. Okay. We then look at the kidneys. So this is again has a link to how you're able to manage that stress. So our adrenals sit on top of our kidneys. Okay. So again, it's as I said, it's the link to the to sort of fight or flight mode. Okay. So when people sort of need more adrenaline. So there's definitely a sort of a stress thing going on with you, which is going to in effect have an impact on your circulation system. Okay, this also matches to blood pressure and fluid regulation in the body. Okay. If I move on to energy flow, so the energy flow is this in Chinese medicine. This is linked to what we call the meridian. So these are the information channels through the body which connect different organs. And it's how the organs are actually working in conjunction with each other. So the first one is the large intestine. Large intestine is linked with sort of sensory cortex. So again, it's like flow of information in the brain, mineral absorption in the large bowel. Also, it has a link to the nervous system. Okay. If I go on to the heart, so heart seems to be quite a big one for you. So again, this is the communication in the body. Again, it's looking at the fight or flight with the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, also has this meridian controls blood pressure. So again, we've got the blood pressure link. It's also looking at temperature and pH balance in the body, which we'd see again within the kidney meridian. You'll see there are priority numbers when you look at things, so don't be too concerned about that. But we can see when it says the speech center field, this is not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just a where information is perhaps not firing as well as it could do right now. Okay, so don't be thinking, oh goodness, what's wrong with my brain? It's not about, we're not detecting any illness as such. What we're looking for is to create a smoother and more coherent operating system in the body. We've got liver energy. So I mentioned liver before is part of the circulation. So this is part of our big detox. Okay, so overall looking at the liver function, detox, exposure to electromagnetic fields. Also the liver, people often sort of look at the liver and sort of connect it with fatty foods, too much sugar in our diet, too much alcohol, etc., etc. Often it's associated with sort of more hidden exposure to toxins. So parabens, phthalates, things that the chemicals that we tend to use on a regular basis in our homes, our personal skincare, our cosmetics. I'll show you something on the environmental screen in a moment that I think you'll really associate with at the moment. So again, you can go into, in people here, you can go into the actual function showing us the liver and lymph field. So it's not saying there's anything wrong with the liver, but at the moment it's not working as effectively on an energetic level as it could do. We then have what we call the triple burner. So the triple burner is very much linked with the thyroid function. So it's about temperature control in the body. It's about how the body is able to store source energy. So we're looking at like what we call three main cavities of the body, so the head, the chest, and the abdomen. Again, it has a link to adrenals, so that's sort of fight, flight, stress mode again. Okay, if we go further in, we can see there's an element coming up around the pyramid field within the thyroid. That's just part of the thyroid function. It's not detecting anything wrong with your thyroid. However, it would give us an indication that there may be, your body's maybe not been metabolizing as well as it could do. Okay. So that's the triple burner. I think I mentioned that was covered, it was related to stress as well. And then we have circulation again. So this is what we call our heart protector meridian, which is linked to circulation. So again, the circulation system. Okay. Also linked to the midbrain, so looking at sort of visual auditory regulation, and a link to the female field. Okay, so this is actually really quite interesting, after what we were talking about earlier, because the circulation, stress, processing of information, it's all coming up in there. So when I go into your immunity, this is where we've got another couple of priorities. So this is linked with the central nervous system. So when we look at what we call our energetic terrains, it's all linked with immunity, and our bodies hold on to old patterns and imprints. So where there's been a pathogen or some form of virus or viral infection at some point, which has probably physically left the body, sometimes it leaves an energetic imprint. Okay, so there are some things going on around the central nervous system at the moment. Okay, so it could, this can lead to us feeling disconnected, where perhaps we're not able to process information correctly. Everything feels a little bit muzzy. Often we'll get that coming up. You've also got ET3 immunity, which is often connected with emotional trauma. Okay, so and that can create a stress on the body's immune system. And then ET15 is what we call our general one. Okay. The energetic stars, so we've got a memory imprinter coming up. So the memory imprinter is looking at the sort of operating system within the body. Okay, it can show up for many different reasons. It may be that we're just not able to something gone wrong in our operating system, so we're just not able to pick up on information and process it as well as what we could normally. Okay, so again, it can have an effect on the body's metabolism and actually cellular metabolism, so actually metabolizing the cells and information in the body. We've got video function coming up, generally where we talk about, old emotional patterns where we constantly processing the same information, something that perhaps we've seen, that we might have witnessed at some point. This isn't necessarily on a conscious level, this is on a subconscious level. Okay. And then we have the COH matrix, which is connected with the Krebs cycle. This is how your body is able to convert carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen into energy production to feed the cells in the body. Okay. So it's interesting because it's actually connected to calcification processes, which is linked again back to circulation. Okay, so again, it has it's how the body is able to excrete toxins. Now, what I want to show you here is on the environmental screen is high priorities that are coming up for you. So this particular one, I can't even pronounce this name, but I'm just highlighting it so you see it. Okay, so we're not saying that these toxins are present in your body. What we're saying is that they have been present at some point. Okay, they may be present, but if you came into contact with them, your body would have to work harder to eliminate these. Okay, so this was really interesting because this is actually linked to the hair, to the people who work in hairdressing, because it's actually linked to permanent hair dyes. Okay, and it can over time lead to allergic reactions. So it's one of those. I suppose it's one of those occupational hazards, really. When people work in that environment every day, what it's doing, it's having an effect on the overall body's ability to be able to clear toxins. This is why it's really important that you are moving every day, putting some stress on your body in order to speed up the body's cell metabolism, so that your detox organs are working more effectively to be able to eliminate the exposure to these toxins. Okay, so also things like body brushing would be a really good thing for you to do. Okay, I know it's difficult, because of your line of work to, others can start eliminating things, but just to be aware of that. Okay, we've got some solvents coming up. So again, we're not saying that you have these in you. However, the more we can do to reduce the amount of toxins in our lives, so reduce, and maybe we've moved across to the tropic skincare and the cosmetics as well. But things like, moving to things like that, just being aware of what we're putting on our hair, our cleaning products, our washing powders, if we're using any form of air fresheners in our home, all of these things that we just need to be more aware of, that we're keeping our environment as clean as we possibly can. Okay, the mercury coming up. Even those people who don't have fillings or any form of dental work, there's still mercury in some of the food sources that we eat. There's a thing there on herbicides. Anything you want to click on, so thinking, okay, what's the carbonyl? Okay, these are found in extinguishers, veterinary medicine, and refrigerators to aerosol sprays. Okay. Environmental number 2, we've got insecticides, and we've got a little bit on here with the cell phone. So overall, it's an interesting pattern in your scan, because it's definitely going back to circulation, and probably there's a few things that you can already start to do. Make sure that you're taking a walk every day or doing something outside. If you can, even if it's like, a little bit of gardening or something. Get yourself a skipping rope, have a little skip at lunchtime. Just little things that you can do to sort of create more movement. Look at your overall diet, what you consume on, on a day-by-day basis. We'll try and start to eliminate some of the sort of the more toxic foods that you could be having, and first just be aware of what's going on in your environment, because all of that will have an effect on your circulation system. And when when that becomes or starts to slow down, that then will affect how we are able to clear and deal with toxicity in our lives. Okay, and that's when we then start to notice that we suddenly start to get these strange reactions, the things that we never had reactions to before, because it's starting of an autoimmune condition where the body then starts to attack itself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop a couple of recommendations. I'm going to have a look at the recommendations for you, and so when you log into this scan, you'll see click through to recommendations. It won't be these ones. I just need to have a look at these in a bit more detail before I do that. But you'll see a little number in here. If you want to give the nutraceuticals a go, more than welcome to. You can actually order them directly, and the company will ship them out to you. Okay. And let me know if you do, because then I'll send the recommendation sheet across to you. Okay, but any questions you've got, please let me know, and we can actually have a chat about this on Sunday anyway. Okay, I will speak to you very soon. Thanks, Jackie. Bye.